Nice to see you all again. I realized I didn't introduce myself before, so like very quickly. Andrea Bureca here. I've been in AWS like only for 3 months actually. Like I'm quite fresh. And what I do in AWS is leading the specialist team for AI ML across all UK and Ireland. And my background actually is like mostly around the consulting space. So been around the tech sphere for the last 10 years or so. Accenture, Automation Logic, version 1. And I've been 100% specialized in AI for the last 3.5 years or so, ever since like the GenAI boom, when they asked me, when my CTO back at my former company asked me, mate, we don't have a business. We are tech consultants, but we have like zero business in the AI space. Surely we should do something now that everyone is talking about that. What shall we do? Easier said than done, but yeah, worked out well and eventually got me this job in AWS as well. So very happy to be here. Thanks a lot for being here as well. Again, sorry for the queue, but hopefully you're going to be compensated with some fancy pizzas from Zia Lucia next corner, very Italian biased. But yeah, what I'm going to talk to you about today is what I refer to as GenAI paradox. So essentially, we are in a world where everyone is talking about AI, everyone wants to do AI, blah, 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 every organization, regardless of size. As a result of this hype, everyone is like doing a number of proof of concepts, but as a result, very few going to production and very few actually add value. And as a result, there is also like a bunch of like AI fatigue. So what I'm trying to cover is how not to end up having more pilots in your organization or on your own laptop than Heathrow. So what I'm going to talk, like 4 things. Very quick AI market view, introduction of what's happening. Then deep diving into what are the key challenges that are introducing this sort of like problem, defining the paradox, and then hopefully cracking it, giving like some key takeaways for all of you to start with from tomorrow, ideally. Macro view. So I actually borrowed this slide from AWS because it was like very nice. And what this slide says is essentially ChatGPT was launched in November 2022. Everyone was super excited. 2023, everyone was talking about, oh my God, what is a transformer architecture? What is an LLM? What is GenAI? Is this secure? Will it train on my data and whatnot? So like very basic question. And we refer to that as the year of POCs because everyone was trying. Straight after to 2024, last year, we like to call it like the year of production, hoping that a bunch of like POCs would move into production. And the questions we've been hearing from our customers were things such as like, how do I prioritize them? How can I lower my costs? How can I optimize this proof of concept? And now we are in 2025, what we call the year of business value. So hopefully we are now in a situation where the kind of conversation we should have are like, how can I leverage agents? How can we go deeper and wider, transform the entire business and whatnot? This is the hope. However, data are saying us something slightly different. So essentially, everyone is doing AI, but according to McKinsey, only 95% of like POCs may never see the light in production. Between 60 to 80 of overall AI projects fail, and this number is twice as big as like normal IT projects. So it's like quite a massive figure. This is like both according to Gartner and Infotech. And in general, as per Harvard Business Review, 92% of enterprises are struggling to scale their AI apps from pilots. Very alarming, but at the same time, it's not just like bad, because actually we got lots of like very good customers that made it, and for those who made it, they face like between 15% to 20% higher profitability, so affecting the bottom line. This is a massive number. This is like billion essentially, and 50 to 70% cost savings and ROI within 6 months. So wow, how to get like these guys from here to there? This is the kind of question. And why like there are all these like big numbers in terms of like challenges? Most of people nowadays are still thinking about how can I optimize my prompt and my application development. But that is not the key challenge we're facing. That is just like the tip of the iceberg. The actual challenges, I won't spend time against each and every one of them, otherwise you will never eat the pizzas from Zia Lucia. But essentially these are high level. The extra challenges that are preventing most of the proof of concept to go into production after that. There is like this form of like, some execs are scared, but ultimately, like, you know, performance at scale, how will I know that my POC is working in my machine, but doesn't work at scale? How is that? Data quality, garbage in, garbage out. Sometimes all the efforts are put into the AI application, and the data is often overlooked, whereas actually data is the biggest differentiator, so we should rather focus on data first and AI on top. The ROI is very, very difficult to estimate sometimes, because like all the conversations are rotating around like productivity gains, but ultimately the positioning of GenAI is enabling people to do more with same, and therefore, though, if I don't want to reduce FTEs, how can I quantify my cost savings? This is another challenge that some execs are facing that makes it very complicated to calculate the ROI. Talent gap, not everyone is upskilled in AI. Market is absolutely changing daily, day in, day out. So it's very difficult to find very, very skilled AI engineers, and they're very expensive. And then many, many more. And like I would just like mention security and trust. We all know hallucination, jailbreaking, toxicity, prompt hijacking, you name them. Essentially, security is a big topic that actually I think like we're gonna hear a little bit later, so like I won't deep dive into that. Big mess, how to summarize this? Like the question is, there is this hype, there are all these challenges, but why are there like so many POCs? Like one might think, let's just not invest. But like the hype is so big that we should. But the problem most organizations are facing is what I call GenAI adoption paradox. So on the one hand, like an individual, yourself in your organization, for example, you need a strong business case and a strong plan in order to get the investments for your own applications, for example. You need a business case. On the other hand, though, in order to develop the business case, you actually need to properly understand the tech and run experiments and actually get upskilled into that. So you get in this chicken and egg situation where you need a business case and a plan to invest, but in order to develop the business case and the plan, you actually need to kind of like invest, and you are kind of like stuck there. And to make things even more complicated, the technology keeps changing day in, day out, and so you're stuck in this sort of like loop. When you start like trying some things, then the new LLM gets launched. You start doing that. Wait, I don't have a business case for that. So like you are all over, and you're in sort of this ethereal space where we have like 15,000 different proof of concepts running in your machines or running in your organization, and very, very few of them get launched. And we can call this like the PoC Purgatory with this fancy image that Amazon Nova generated for me, actually. That was like quite nice. So how to overcome that? Hopefully I'm gonna bring this towards the end of the presentation and giving you a solution. The theory is a bunch of adoption frameworks and operating models, and I could tell you about like very, very good like, case studies with Booking, with Thomson Reuters, Adidas. There are customers, but I'm not here to do a sales pitch, so I will skip this slide, and I will actually go like point by point, the lessons learned that we faced as a team in terms of how to overcome these sort of challenges. First thing, might sound cheesy and obvious, but I assure you is not. By all means, AI is a mean to an end. Start with a problem. And I know it sounds obvious, but like 9 CTOs out of 10 that I'm speaking to start the conversation, or at least started like last year, the conversation with, my CEO wants to do something with AI. Everyone is doing something about AI. Surely we need to differentiate ourselves. What is the art of the possible? What use cases can I try? Again, the technology is there to solve a problem. If the problem is not there, there is no point to actually explore the technology. So remember that, and in practice, develop a high-level business case before doing the proof of concept. The proof of concept, by definition, needs to answer to a question or to a hypothesis. And you do this hypothesis in the business case. If you can't develop the business case, then there is no point to do the proof of concept, unless it's an experiment, but even the experiment should prove or disprove something. First thing. Second thing, when you develop the business case and develop like the high-level plan, you know what problem you're gonna solve. Don't forget the good old DevOps teachings that like we grew up with in the last years. So shift left, digital decoupling. Don't build your monoliths straight away with one solution that tries to solve every problem in the whole world, and pack it up all together, and then push right all the scaling mechanism, infrastructural service, and whatnot. Otherwise, the POC is going to be amazing. Then as soon as you want to scale it, it's going to explode, and no one is going to invest in it. Third thing, data. If any, LLMs are getting commoditized. All the applications are getting very, very similar as the time goes by. And like, you know, even if you compare like ChatGPT with Perplexity, with Claude, with this and that, they're kind of similar at the end of the day. Some have like cool features, but they're getting like sort of flat in the long run. The data, your organization data, and your own data that you have on your laptops, that is the differentiator. So don't overlook that. Don't use it as an afterthought. Prep it first, or at least in parallel to your POC, because that's what's making the difference. Fourth thing, do not overthink models. If you go on LinkedIn, I'm sure you are, as I do, like every 10 minutes you got like the latest post. Oh my God, DeepSeek launched like the latest and greatest. Oh, but by the way, the Studio Ghibli image generator on ChatGPT, that's fantastic, I want to try it. And you start like doing this, oh, I want to try this and that, and you go into this never-ending loop. They're different, and there isn't a silver bullet. So like some models are better for some things, some other models are better for other things. But what we've seen in the market is for 90%, it's a made-up stuff, like between 80 and 92% of like clients we're talking to, they are doing use cases for which any model available would work for that use case. We are not doing rocket science. We are talking, the stuff that we're seeing in production are mostly RAG solutions, some form of virtual assistants, some form of hyper-personalization, some form of marketing generation image creator. This is what we're seeing this year. And for this, I'm not saying that everyone is the same, but comparable. So don't overthink it. You can still change it later. Last thing, people first. Don't do it in a silo. Bring user in as soon as possible. Use user-centered design as much as you can as you develop the application, and bring them on to measure the value as you develop and iterate on your solution. Otherwise, it's pointless. And the only judge of value are ultimately the users, not yourself, not the latency, not the throughput, not the scalability, nothing else. The only thing that counts is their feedback. So, last slide. Actually, no, there is one more, but it's like super quick. To crack it up, we started with this problem, business case, that, you know, chicken and egg problem, that thing. This leads to PoC Purgatory. Probably what you want is something that looks quite similar, but slightly different. So what you want in order to overcome this problem and crack what I call the AI paradox is start from a thought with high-level understanding of what the art of the possible is. So what can you do with AI? After you get like this thinking, without like deep diving too much, you start with that. But then after you understand what is possible, you want to identify the intervention, the smallest problem that has the biggest value that AI can solve, based on the art of the possible that you understood before, and develop a lightweight business case that proves that there is actual value, there is monetary value, there is user value, there is like whatever kind of value that you want to drive. And that makes a justification, and develop an hypothesis statement. So, for example, I think this solution will bring X value by doing A, B, and C. I know this is true if this thing is proven. And then the proof of concept should be only done to prove that concept, to prove that hypothesis. Because if there is an hypothesis and everything is done, then you don't need a proof of concept. Just move to production or buy an app that already exists. Then, if it's proven with your proof of concept, fantastic. You iterate to the next version, and you iterate the business case next to it. So it becomes like more accurate, and your plan develops with your application. And measure the value with people to make sure and keep track how's it going down. If it's not proven, throw it away. So you have like an actual key decision point to say, yeah, let's keep it here, or no, let's exit. So you will avoid the situation that most organizations are in right now, where they have like a huge backlog of POCs that are gonna still stay there in some form of this sort of like limbo, because they didn't have success criteria for them, pretty much. So I will leave you with a very, very cheesy quote, but in the AI world, I think is like what matters the most, and it's from Albert Einstein. And all this saying, sorry, so you can read it here. All this is saying is that it reminds us to think about the actual problem, because that will drive the solution, not the other way around. And I think this is one of the biggest blocker in the AI adoption world. And for you, there are like a bunch of resources actually, if you're keen like to do a picture and then you like can scan them later in your free time. But these are like very, very good best practices and workshop material or live demos for you to get upskilled a little bit in different solutions that AWS has that can help you address some of this problem. And with that, thank you very much. That was me.